you? Welcome back to my channel. We're on the final stretch of Old School April, which I still can't believe. This vlog, we're going to be reading all the books, watching all the nostalgic shows and movies, building a fort, doing a candy taste test. Just some of the things to look forward to on this vlog. I can't believe Old School April is almost over. I've had the most fun. I've made new friends. I've been introduced to movies and books that I wouldn't have originally thought of on my own, that I wouldn't have discovered had it not been for Old School April. Thank you so much to Kelsey at Slime and Slashers for coming up with Old School April. She put so much work into all the details, and I've just had so much fun. It's been a blast. We'll get into what I'm doing this week, aside from what I've already told you. I have 3 books left on my original TBR. One of them I'm taking off for now because it's not the current mood. I read The Feeding last week. It was very dark and disturbing. I loved it. I enjoyed it, but it was dark and disturbing. So I'm kind of not in the mood for dark this week. I'm in the mood for light. I'm in the mood for fun. So I'm taking off the Nebulon horror. I do want to read it, but I'm putting it on a future TBR. So for now, unless my mood dramatically changes, this is coming off my TBR. Only 2 other ones left on my original TBR is Horrorama, which is a book of 3 short stories. It just says reminiscent of those popcorn-fueled all-nighters. So that sounds like a lot of fun. And then this is a reread, my best friend's Exorcism. I saved this for the end on purpose. I loved this book so much. It has all the vibes I wanted. It has just everything that encompasses Old School April. So otherwise, these last ones that I want to read is going to give you a little sneak peek at the book haul I told you guys about that I'm going to be posting in a couple of weeks. You may have already seen the sneak peek if you are on my Instagram, because I did make a post of these because I didn't have any Christopher Pike books before my book haul. These are all Christopher Pike. First one is the Starlight Crystal. Look at the holographic lettering. Not going to go into these. I'll go into these as I read them. But this is one I want to read this week. Weekend, Fall into Darkness, and this is my favorite cover, Master of Murder. This has that embossed cover, I think you call it. It's raised. That's like the coolest. So this is most likely the one I'm going to be reading first. So those are all the books I'm going to be reading this week, hopefully. It looks really ambitious, but these should all be pretty quick. I want to just go wherever my mood takes me. Like I said, we're going to be building a fort. I'll take you guys along for that. That's going to be really fun. Also, I told you we'll be doing a candy taste test. Let me show you the candies that I picked up this weekend. I found this candy store that it's a freeze-dried candy store, but they had a lot of nostalgic candies. This one, I think, is like fruit roll-ups that they put nerds on. It's called Cosmic Crack. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show you better. Yeah. We'll try this probably later today. I'll show you guys. These are sour peach rings. These are the regular peach rings. Sour Skittles. Cherry limeade saltwater taffy. These are called Astro Puffs, but they are Jolly Ranchers. We do a little taste test of those at some point, probably later today, because I won't keep you guys in suspense too long. But stick around, and I'll be starting this book today. I'll keep you guys updated. See you in a little bit. I've started to read Master of Murder. It's very entertaining. Marvin is in high school. He's 17. He's like a wildly popular author, but no one in his high school knows about it because he writes under a pen name. And it's hilarious because he hasn't got the latest book out in the series. His publishers are waiting for it, but he's kind of suffering from writer's block. He hasn't figured out how to end the series. And no one at his school knows that he's this huge author. Nobody has a clue. And he's listening to everybody. Right now, he's in a class and he's listening to everybody speculate about this author that's him, and they don't know it's him. And he's so mysterious, and I bet he's 40, I bet he's 30, I bet he has kids, I bet he's so handsome. And it's so funny. that he's listening to them speculate about him and who he is, and they have no idea. He's sitting in the classroom. He's crushing on this girl, Shelley, and he's kind of awkward. He really wants to ask her out, and she has no clue that he's this author making 6 figures on his book deal. Not just one book deal, but per book or whatever. He's wildly successful. She has no idea, and he's so awkward he can't even ask her out. Anyways, I'll keep you guys updated. We're getting to the more suspense part. Well, mild. It's like just at the beginning of it. Marvin is in his room opening fan mail. And like I said, no one in his town knows who he is because he keeps it very much a secret because he writes under a pen name. And he and his sister are opening fan mail. His sister is 11. And by the way, the relationship he has with his sister is very special. I love their relationship. I love that she can see right through his crap. He can lie to her and she's going to see right through it. And I just love her. This isn't a spoiler, it's on the back. But they're opening fan mail and he gets a letter from someone in his town. And he, sees the stamp and he's like, oh, this is from someone in town. So they open it and it's just one line and it just says, I know who you are. That's ominous. And that's going to be where it gets interesting. About 64 pages in, Marvin has a lot going on. He's dealing with writer's block. He's kind of lying to his editor saying, oh yeah, you're going to have this latest book in a few days. Meanwhile, he hasn't even started it because he has no clue where he's going with the story. Then, I told you guys he got that ominous letter saying, I know who you are. Well, he just got another letter that's kind of getting a little bit more personal. And then he's gotten roped into a whole other mystery that I won't even get into. But yeah, things are getting more mysterious. And he's crushing on Shelley. So he's got that. But he's got so many things going on. He's very distracted from his book because all these things that he has going on are distracting him from what he's supposed to be doing. But they're all kind of big, important things. Dude just has a lot going on. But yeah, I like that it's getting more mysterious. I'm definitely into the story and I'm wanting to know more. I'm wanting to know what's happening next. Yeah. Okay, I'm really into the mystery of Master of Murder, but I am going to take a candy break and thought I would try the first candy. Which one do I want to try first? How about the freeze-dried peach rings? And this came from a place called 7 Wire Space Snacks. It's out of Gainesville, Texas. So you get all the peach ring flavor is there, and maybe like even more peachy, but the texture is really interesting because you have the crunchy. Oh my god, it's really good. And you know how some freeze-dried stuff sticks to your teeth? This really doesn't. It's just really crunchy and airy. Oh my god, it's really, really good. I don't know if you can see, but this is like what's left of it. But yeah, they are so good. We'll try another one here in a little bit. I don't know if it'll be today. Yeah, I think we'll try another one later today because it's really hard to stop. They're really good. So I finished Master of Murder. Marvin, on top of his writer's block and the mystery of his books that he's writing, he gets wrapped up in this real life mystery. He finds parallels between the real life mystery and the book series that he's writing and realizes that there's some truth to the stories that he's been writing. So they end up being inadvertently based on true events, which is really an interesting take. It was just a twisted, fun, over-the-top good time. I mean, just the typical Christopher Pike for its over-the-topness. But yeah, it was wild. The only thing I really didn't care for was the very end. I think they could have just stopped before the epilogue and I would have liked it more. But yeah, this was just over the top and wild, and I think 4 stars probably. But I judge these based on a YA, and for a YA, I think it's a 4 star. It would have been a 5 star had it not been for the ending. The ending kind of messed it up for me, but it was still fun. I think next I will read My Best Friend's Exorcism. I told you guys this will be a reread. Hoping to catch some. Every time I reread something, I get a different experience, different times in my life, and you know, I pick up different details I didn't pick up the first time. So I'll be rereading this one next, and I will keep you guys updated. It's been a few hours. To you, it probably feels like, you know, a couple minutes. I am, you know, just over 60 pages into My Best Friend's Exorcism. You know, the very beginning of this, the first little bit of this is building the foundation to Abby and Gretchen's friendship from the very first time they meet all the way up until, you know, they meet in elementary school, all the way up until now they're sophomores in high school. And their friendship is just really special. And then they have their, you know, their sleepover with them two and then 2 of their other friends. Just that typical teenager girl sleepover where it's all playful and fun, and, you know, they're drinking beer and they're having fun. Grady Hendrix just has a knack for writing females and female friendships. I don't know how he does it, but he's really good at that. And now we are to the part where Gretchen, you know, she goes skinny dipping and something happens, but when she comes back from skinny dipping, she's different. Like, she's got this attitude that she doesn't normally have because she's normally really pleasant. She's cussing, she doesn't normally cuss, but she's just not herself. I've read all this before, so I know what's gonna happen, and I'm not gonna give you any spoilers or anything like that. But yeah, it's got that typical 80s, which is why I'm reading it, but it has that 80s vibes. And I especially love, you know, in the beginning where Abby is having her skating rink birthday party and it's ET themed, and it's just so perfect. I'll see you guys here in a little bit. It's Tuesday. I'm working on My Best Friend's Exorcism. I'm a little over halfway through with it. I'm having a good time. I love that, you know, you don't just have the exorcism and the horror of it, but there are all these over the top parts of it and comedy mixed in. Of course, you know, with Grady Hendrix, that's how he is. That's his writing style. It's just quirky and fun mixed in, and not just all horror. The friendship is at the center of it, obviously, and everybody needs a friend like Abby, because she did not give up on Gretchen. She has not given up on Gretchen. Well, everybody else has, because Gretchen is acting like a total B. And everybody else is thinking she's just being a brat. And Abby knows there's something else going on. This is not her friend. This is not how she normally acts. And she's the only one that hasn't completely given up on her. Gretchen's mom is, to me, ridiculous sometimes too. But you have that whole other element. You know, the teen drama is in there, and this whole other layer on top of the horror of it. I love that about this book. And, you know, teen girls are so mean anyways, and then you add a demon possession on top of it. It's just a whole nother level of mean. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's really fun. It's just as fun as I remember, if not more so, because, you know, even I know what's happening, so I could focus on other elements that I missed before because I know what's coming. So yeah, it's even more fun than the second time around, just because I could pick up on the things that I missed before, because I'm not so focused on what's gonna happen, because I already know. I'll see you guys here in a little bit. I finished My Best Friend's Exorcism. Still love it just as much as I did, if not more. And this remains my favorite Grady Hendrix book, and it would be really hard to top it. And yeah, I just love it so much. Highly recommend. If you love horror, you know, it's got the 80s vibes, obviously. Female friendship, that teen drama, of course, is mixed in there, but it's just perfect. Next, I think I'm going to go back to Christopher Pike and read Fall into Darkness. I'll keep you guys updated on that one. Thought we would try a couple more of the candies. Let's see, which ones do we want to try? How about the cherry limeade saltwater taffy? Okay, they look like this swirly situation. They're really cute and they're really smooth. So they have this sort of, well, the flavor is really there. It's very, very flavorful. You taste the cherry and the lime, but it has this sort of smooth, almost melt in your mouth quality to it. Oh, it's really airy. Really good. I love the texture. The texture is really perfect. You know, with saltwater taffy, when you get it, it has that sort of chewy, like, it's on your teeth. This, it takes that away. And the flavor is a lot more intense than if you were to just get saltwater taffy. It's really, really good. Next, let's try these Cosmic Crack, they're called. And they are fruit roll-ups with nerds, which is really inventive. And of course they're freeze-dried because all of this stuff is freeze-dried. So they take a fruit roll-up and then they put nerds on it and they freeze-dry it. Like, how imaginative is that? And it looks like, it has all these bubbles, like these air bubbles in it. Man, that's interesting. Oh my god. Holy crap, that's good. Dude, that's my favorite so far. That's really good. And definitely tastes like a fruit roll-up. The texture is really interesting because the nerds kept their texture, so you have the crunch. Then it has the airiness. Like some of the nerds kind of popped to it, you know what I mean? So you have the airiness of the freeze dry, and then you have some nerds that kept their crunchiness. So it's like an airy crunch situation. And then you have the intense flavor of the fruit roll-up and the nerds at the same time. Oh, it's like a flavor explosion. It's really good. All right, well, I will update you guys in a little bit as I'm reading Fall into Darkness. I wanted to give you a little idea of what's going on with Fall into Darkness. Sharon McKay is on trial. She's being accused of pushing her best friend, Anne Rice, off a cliff and killing her. However, no body was found. But she's being accused. There are 3 witnesses, but none of them saw her push her. They only heard. Sharon and Anne were best friends, and now Sharon is on trial for Anne's murder. And that's how it's starting out. And apparently it's a pretty high profile case because Anne was very beautiful and very rich. And Sharon McKay is very successful, but also poor, apparently. It says the poor, well, she's talented, but poor. So, because it says the poor and talented Sharon destroying the rich and beautiful Anne in a fit of rage. So it's a high profile case, and that's how it starts. I told you guys that it starts off with the trial. Well, they're both 18, and Sharon is this wildly talented piano player to the point that she got a scholarship into Juilliard, and that's the prologue. And now it's going back in time so that it's gonna go through the events leading up to Anne going off the cliff. And to also know things won't be what they seem, because the back says Sharon's only defense is that Anne committed suicide, but everyone who knew Anne, including Sharon, said she was not the suicidal type. And they were right. Anne was much more than suicidal, she was obsessed. And the front says she fell forever and never hit the ground. So I know things aren't what they seem, so I'll keep you guys updated. I'm over halfway through, and the whole book is, you know what happened, and the whole book is Sharon on trial and her lawyer trying to prove her innocence. And you know, knowing what happened, there are details, of course you never remember everything, because in the moment you don't know that it's important, you don't know what's relevant because you don't know what's going to happen. So there are things, knowing what happened, because it goes back in time, knowing what happened, there are details that of course were forgotten. And you know, I'm sitting here thinking, man, Sharon, I wish you'd remember that, where you could tell them that part because it's so important. Because she didn't know it was relevant at the time, and that's how things go. But that's where we are, and things are really coming together. Yeah. I finished Fall into Darkness. It was wild. I can't say much without giving it away, but you know, it goes back and forth between what happened on the cliff, and then there are chapters in the courtroom and her lawyer and interviewing the witnesses, which is all of the friends. There were things that I didn't expect at all, so that's good, because I really thought from the beginning that there weren't going to be any surprises, but there still were. Christopher Pike is really good with twists and just over the top. I think I said that in the last book too. They're just so over the top. I like the last book better than this one. I think this one I would give 3 stars to. Yeah, it was wild. Next up, I think I will read Horrorama, which is a book of short stories. Don't think it'll take me that long, but I'll keep you guys updated. It's Wednesday. I did start on Horrorama last night, and it's a wild ride. I'm on the first story still. This guy, Richard, he's actually an aspiring author, but he's taking a job at a storage facility. He finds this ad, and he calls them and says, hey, I'm interested in this job. And all they say is, apply in person, basically. So he goes, applies, pretty much immediately gets the job. Well, these 2 pretty lazy guys that own the place just say, if anything happens, call the police. Those are his only instructions. Yeah, he's not told what to do if anybody loses their keys or if anybody can't figure out the code to get in the gate. He's not told anything. He has the night shift, and all these weird things keep happening at this storage facility. I mean, really weird, off the wall things. I don't know if you've ever read Tales from the Gas Station, but it reminds me of that in a way. But the level of weirdness, you know, there's always some kooky thing happening. Kind of reminds me of that. It's just one thing after another with this place, and it's like, what is happening with this storage facility? What else could happen? How is this much strangeness happening at one place? It's wild, but it's a good time. I'm only 26 pages in. I will keep you updated. Look what I ran into. It has like TV guide type things, and there are more than one throughout the book. I know for sure there's at least one other one that I've seen. There's one part that says, see this part right here? It says, close up, store all self-storage, 8 p.m., WGHP 83. That's this channel. Richard Dennison has landed a new job as a night security officer. His bosses are a bit strange, but not as bizarre as the renters who visit their units at night. And the only instructions he's been given are to call the police. Rated R. Parental discretion is advised. So that's fun. I like that touch. Little TV guide inserts. And it's just random, like it's right smack dab in the middle of the story, which is random. But I just thought that was a fun touch. It's Thursday, and I finished the first story in this, which is called Store All Self-Storage. The author is A.S. Coomer. I really liked that one. It was wild. It was really weird, really bizarre. It was very imaginative, very unique. I haven't read anything like it, and I would definitely read more from that author. Actually, I'm going to look that author up and see if they've written anything else. And I would really like to read a whole book by them because I enjoyed it. I could actually read a whole book just on this premise because it was a lot of fun. I kind of wanted to keep reading more about it and figure out where it was going. Yeah, really fun. The next story is called Primitive, and it's by Lucas Mangum. So yeah, I'm gonna keep you guys updated. I am reading the second story in this, Primitive. It's a group of guys who have known each other for a long time, and they're on a camping trip, and they're all going through their own things. They all have their different lives, and they all have wildly different personalities. A couple of them have recently gone through a separation or a divorce, and then one of them is happily married. One of them is very freshly divorced and going through a whole custody battle and all that stuff. Anyways, they have decided to go on an illegal wolf hunt, which is just ridiculous. But while they're on this wolf hunt, they run into a lady in the woods who is dressed in rags. You know, her legs are unshaved. She's got mud all over her, and she clearly hasn't had a bath in a long time. She's got mud everywhere. Her hair's a disaster. She's got mud in her hair, and she says that she's looking for her son, and she's telling them this crazy story. But anyways, they're having a hard time believing her, and that's all I can really say without giving anything away. It's really good. It's a really good story. I really like it. It kind of tells on the back what it's about, and it took a little bit to get to where it was going for a short story. There was a whole big build-up and getting to the camping site and getting the backstories, especially the narrator of the story. But it's really good. I'm really enjoying it, and I'll keep you guys updated. I finished the second story of Horrorama, and it was pretty good too. It wasn't as good as the first one, I thought, but it was still pretty good. And it ended in, like, it was pretty calm, and it was like storytelling and, you know, just pretty chill. And the lady that they found was telling her story and the thing about her son and, you know, why she was looking for her son and all that. And then things escalated pretty quickly, and it ended in, you know, bloodshed and gore. So that was crazy. And now I'm on the last story, which is called The Vessel by Matt Harvey. So I will keep you updated. It's Friday. I did finish Horrorama this morning. I've been up for a few hours. The last story was The Vessel by Matt Harvey. It's about this cult who's wanting to revive their dark god, but they're needing a body to do so. They're needing a body to they're needing a body for their dark god to inhabit. Of course, there's more to it than that. I couldn't get into it as much as the other ones. It was very descriptive and like kind of gross at times. Like, not in a bad way, you know, I don't mind gross. The only thing, it's one of those that it really needed more like a full-length novel. I think it needed more space than a short story would allow, and there were a lot that just needed more detail, and it just needed more fully fleshed out and just more to it. I think it just couldn't fully get its point across with a short story, I don't feel like. I did like the writing style a lot though, and I did like the story, and I still enjoyed it. It just needed more length, I think. But I definitely would read more from this author. The next ones I've decided to read, I'm gonna read R.L. Stine, The Babysitter, and I have 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna read those next. I don't believe I've read these. I can't remember if I have or not, because like I said, it's been so long since I've read R.L. Stine. I'm gonna try to read these, see how many I can get to today. And how do you feel about another candy taste test? Maybe we'll try a couple of them real quick. And all of these have been open. I don't know if you've noticed that, but they've all been open because when I got them, I gave a little bit of each of them to my kids. I just made them a little bag each of a little bit of everything. So all of them have been opened. These are Sour Orbits, which is sour Skittles. So let's try those ones. I'll try to find a red one, but I don't know how far down they are. Ah, got one. So this is, I don't know if you've had these, but this is what they look like. It's like exploded because of the freeze dry process. Definitely sour. Really good though. The inside, it's almost powdery. Not exactly powdery, but I don't know how to explain it. It's like a solid powdery situation. I don't know. The outside still has a crunch. It's really sour. Really good though. I like that texture. It's fun. It's a fun texture. Let's try one more. Let's try the sour peach rings, and then we'll try Jolly Rancher later today. Because we already tried the regular peach rings. Let's try the sour ones. Alright, so I wonder what they put on them to make them sour. So this is what they look like. See all that sour dust on them? Oh my god, it's sour. Really sour. Those are almost too sour. Ooh. Peach flavor is definitely there. I think if you ate too many of those, it would hurt your tongue. Like, you know how you eat too many sour Skittles and it hurts your tongue? That almost hurts my tongue, just one. Whew. But they're really good. I'm gonna give those to my kids. I like sour, but those are really, really sour. The texture's really good though. I can still taste the peach, but the sour is almost overwhelming. Whew. Yeah, I don't like those as much. I like the regular peach rings better. Okay, yeah, I will see you guys here in a little bit. I'll update you on the babysitter, and a little bit later we'll try the freeze-dried Jelly Rangers. I am, I don't know, a little less than halfway through with the babysitter. Jenny has taken on a job as a babysitter. It's not her first job, but this one is pretty new, and she's babysitting this kid named Donnie, who is 6. Jenny herself is someone who is an overthinker. She worries a lot, she stresses a lot, but she is a really good babysitter. She's really good with Donnie. The house that she is keeping him at is an old Victorian house, and it's really creepy. You know, it has, like, when she pulls up, it's kind of run down. It needs a lot of work. There's a hole in one of the windows where it has newspaper over it. There's a shutter that's always banging. It's just a really creepy house. And then on top of that, there's been a person in a mask that has attacked 3 different babysitters in their town, in her town. So that's happening. There's a weird neighbor. The Hagans, who she's babysitting, the husband is really high-strung and also seems to stress over everything and worry about everything. I don't know what his deal is, but he's very, very high-strung. The mom is really cool. She's really nice. And she's always, you know, don't worry about him. He just stresses over everything. Just don't tell my husband about anything minor that happens around the house because he tends to stress over everything. So there's all these different things happening. Well, now Jenny has started to get these weird phone calls. Like, she's gotten this weird phone call, and this person has called the house and says, "Hey babes, are you all alone in that big house? Don't worry, company's coming." How freaking creepy is that? Yeah, on top of all the other creepy things happening, she gets that call. We'll see. I finished The Babysitter. It was good. I really liked this one. I had some of it figured out. The bad guy, I pretty much knew who it was fairly early on, but that was okay. There were still some surprises, but I really did enjoy it. I liked it. All the spooky vibes were there, had all the heart-racing moments. Yeah, the setting was really good. This, you know, the old big Victorian house was perfect, and the characters were interesting, and the story was interesting. The backstory was interesting. It was all really good. So next up, I'll be reading The Babysitter II. I'm hoping to finish this one today, and I will see you guys here in a bit. I had to have an update, but I had to take my contacts out because my eyes were dry. Sorry about the glare on the glasses, but it is what it is for now until I get a different light. I'm reading The Babysitter II, and it's the same girl, Jenny, and she's dealing with trauma from the previous incident. She's coming to terms with all that, and she's finally gotten brave enough and taken another babysitter job. So she's just starting that. The house is already better. It's not a creepy Victorian house. The house is in much better shape. The people seem more normal so far. And it's so funny that the adults in this are in their 30s, like the people that she's babysitting for are in their 30s, and they make them seem so old. And it's so funny because I'm 37, and I remember whenever I was a teen or preteen or whenever I was reading these that I thought 30s was so old, and now I'm like feeling a little insulted. But anyways, I just wanted to tell you guys about that. I thought that was really funny. Well, I said this family was normal, but no, they have their quirks too. The mom is the one that's like a nervous wreck. She's the one that's kind of high strung and all over the place. The kid is 10 and he's really, really smart. He calls himself a mechanical genius because he's taken an IQ test and they've called him a mechanical genius. And he has an IQ of over 180. And also, I believe he's a sociopath. He's showing signs of being a sociopath to me. He's kind of manipulative too. He's doing some things. He's showing some troubling behavior, so we'll see how this goes. There are all these like red flags. I don't know that I would stick around with this babysitting gig. I don't know that it would be worth it. I don't know how much she's making, but I don't think it's worth it. We'll see. And she's only been there one time. She's only had like one babysitting shift or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's worth the trouble at this point because this kid to me seems like a little monster. Yeah, no, hard pass. Hard pass. Okay, so Jenny is back for the second time babysitting this kid who is absolutely a little monster. He's watching this horror movie in his room, a slasher, and he is just laughing hysterically at all the kills. And she's trying to get him to play a game or something. He says, no, I'm not turning this movie off. This is what I'm doing. So, and she kind of says, should you be watching this? And he says, well, who's going to stop me? Yeah, he's a little monster. And then, so she says, I'm not watching this horrible movie. I'm going to go downstairs. She goes downstairs. The phone rings. And she immediately recognizes the voice. And the voice says, hi, babes. I'm back. So, and it's the voice from, she believes it's the voice from the villain from the last book. I'll keep you guys updated. I finished The Babysitter II. Can't really say too much about it, but this one surprised me. I love that all these books have all the twists and turns and, you don't know what's coming and there are all these different scenarios that it could be and you don't know which one it's going to be. I can usually figure them out, but this one actually surprised me and it was just a lot of fun. My mood has shifted because that's what happens when you're a mood reader. You don't know what mood you're going to be in. I am going to try to still carry on and read Babysitter III because I'm going to try to just read all three of them because I have them and that was my plan. My mood has changed though, so we'll see, but I am going to try because I am enjoying them. I'm having fun with them, but it's just not my mood anymore. But we'll see. How about we try the last of the candy, the freeze-dried candy, because I'm needing a snack. These are the Astro Puffs, which is Jolly Ranchers. I think that's pink. Watermelon. Oh, those are good. Oh, the watermelon's really good. Okay, those are delicious. I've got to stop. There's apple, blue raspberry, watermelon, grape, and cherry. And they are very flavorful. But I love that they have that little crisp, but they're airy, and then you have like the melt in your mouth after. And they are very, very flavorful. Taste just like a Jolly Rancher because they are Jolly Ranchers, but you don't have that, you don't have to like have that sticky. Oh, they're really good. Yeah. Alrighty, well, I will see you guys here in a bit. So I'm going to try the Babysitter III. We'll see if I can get into it or if I'm going to have to switch moods. See you guys in a bit. Instead of reading Babysitter III because my mood shifted, it happens. This wasn't even on my original list and not something that's necessarily nostalgic, but it's older and I'm just in the mood for something different, and that is The Monster Club by R. Chetwynd Hayes. It was originally published in the 70s. This is a reprint. Look how cool this cover is. It's got all these monsters on it. The back also has monsters on it. It's really neat. But it sounds really interesting and weird and kind of quirky. I think I'm gonna give this one a try. Just something different. I need something different. I think I've read too much R.L. Stine and point horror lately. I will keep you updated. It's Saturday. I'm reading The Monster Club. I'm not that far into it, 12 pages, and I'm already having a great time. It's really entertaining. there's a humorous undertone to it. Donald is the human in this, and he is a very giving person. He's very kind. He's not rich by any means, but he's very giving. You know, if there's any charity, he's going to give to it. If there's a collection plate, he's going to give to it. He's just one of those people. So he's walking one day and he sees this guy who has fainted. Everybody else is just walking by ignoring this guy because the guy's he's a little odd looking. He's very pale, his skin is very tight, and he's skin and bones, and he's really small. So he sees this guy who has fainted, and he's able to get him to come to, and the guy tells him that he hasn't eaten in 2 weeks. So he gets the guy to his flat, and he cooks him a meal, and the guy says, well, no, I can't eat food. That's not what I eat. And he says, well, what do you eat? And he informs him that he's a vampire, that he eats blood. When he finds out he's a vampire, Donald himself faints. And he wakes up and he's got bite marks in his neck. Because the vampire Aramis, he just takes it upon himself to just take a little nibble because he hasn't eaten in 2 weeks and he's very weak. And so Donald was like, well, most people would have asked. Like, I would have rather you just ask. And he says, well, most people wouldn't have let me because, whatever. So there's a blood shortage because, as Aramis says, now that there are horror movies, everybody's well informed, so nobody will let them take blood. So, anyways, Donald is super chill about it. Most people would have ran screaming, but Donald is such a giving person and such a kind person that he just is having this conversation with Aramis, and he's hearing him out. And Aramis says, I got to get to the club. Of course, Donald has all these questions. And Aramis says, hey, would you like to go to the club? I could, you could be my guest. I can introduce you to everybody, whatever. So Donald is like, he's reluctant at first, but he's decided to go to the club with him. And it's a monster club. And there are all these monsters there. So he's at the club now. And there are all sorts of monsters. There are other monsters that Frankenstein has created. There's a snake woman, werewolf, other vampires, all sorts of different monsters. Some that, are normal that we've, some that we have heard of, some that are new, that, just other different creations, I guess you could say. Some lab created, some not lab created. So he's in the club now, and it's really interesting, and we're going to be meeting all these different characters, so I'm really excited about it. I can already tell you by the writing style that I love it, and most likely this is going to be a favorite for the month. Yeah, I'm loving it. Had to put glasses on, which I'm not too happy about, but my eyes were dry, so I had no choice. Sorry about the glare. I'm about 86 pages into the Monster Club, and I'm loving it. So Donald is still in the Monster Club, and all these different monsters are telling him these stories. Most of them are telling him their backstory, how they became who they are, whatever. Like there's a werevamp, which is a combination of a werewolf and a vampire. There are all these different combinations of different monsters. So it's a lot of different crossbreeding, which is interesting, and what the different combinations do. And also, like the first one was, like I said, a werevamp, and he's telling the story about how his parents met, because Donald was really curious, well, how the world does a vampire and a werewolf end up getting together? It's dark, but there's the humor. I love the dark humor. It's actually a lot of fun. I do plan on watching the movie eventually, maybe this week actually, because I'm really having a good time with it. I'm loving all the different stories. The one I'm currently on is a little darker than the others, but yeah, it's a good time. I'm getting ready for the Old School April Slumber Party. That's what I'm about to get on right now. I believe the first part is reading sprints, but I know we're going to be doing trivia, like 80s and 90s trivia, Mad Libs, I believe, things like that. But also Kelsey over at Slime and Slashers, she's the mastermind of Old School April. She created bingo, and what she did was it's create your own bingo kind of, and she has these 90s tarot cards, and they just have, different 90s words and stuff on them. And she gave us a list of all the words, and we were to just fill out our own bingo cards with whatever words we wanted. So this is mine, using her bingo board. So that will be fun. So she also made us some coloring pages, which I love. We're gonna have a crafting hour and where we can color, craft, whatever. Here's one of them. And then we have this one. And this one. She had a couple others, but those are the ones that I printed out to do. It should be a really good time. I am gonna get on to the slumber party. It's gonna be live here in just a little bit. I know they're gonna start at 2 p.m. and then it's gonna go all night. Probably won't be on it all night because I don't have the energy for that, but I'll be off and on here and there. I will keep you updated on the Monster Club. I finished the Monster Club, loved it. It was a ton of fun. I loved all the stories because, you know, you have 5 different stories within the story. 3 of them are being told by the monsters, and then 2 of them are like films that are being shown. It was a lot of fun to learn all the different monsters. There were some that I hadn't heard of, that were different breeds, like crossbreeds or whatever. It was interesting to learn their different abilities and different powers, for lack of a better word, the different things that they can do. But I loved the dark humor. I just loved everything about it. It was witty and dark. I really loved the writing style a lot, and now I really want to see what else he's written, because I know he's written other things and I really want to read other books by this author. Really loved it. I'm switching gears and reading something that wasn't on my original list and I didn't know I wanted to read, but I found this on my shelf. It's one that I thrifted a while back. So The Halfway to Halloween prompt is perfect for this because it's set on Halloween. It's called Witch's Bane. It's from the 90s. I believe it's cozy mystery, but just to switch gears, I don't read a lot of cozy books, but I've been reading a lot of horror, and I thought it would be something different, and it's just on my shelf. Picked it up at a thrift store a while back. I'll let you guys know. All right, it's Monday. Didn't update you guys yesterday because I was kind of taking a break and just reading. That's it. Relaxing, just had a pretty chill day. I could not get into Witch's Bane at all. I got maybe 20 pages in and I just knew I wouldn't be able to get into it, so it's going to be a DNF. Won't go back to it. Probably end up unhauling that one. I did read Clown in a Cornfield. This is one I was gonna wait until fall for, but it was calling to me. Sorry about the glare. I still can't wear contacts because my eyes are really dry. But anyways, I was gonna wait until fall for Clown in a Cornfield, but it was calling to me. So picked it up. Glad I did because it was exactly what I needed right now. I had a good time with it. I loved it. It was the perfect slasher. I love a good killer clown trope. I love the cornfield setting. Loved the main character Quinn. She was perfect. You know, this scrappy, quick on her feet, quick thinker. Just, she was fun. Let me read you, I'm going to read you the synopsis. Normally I would just tell you my take on it, but I don't want to give anything away. So I'm just going to read you the synopsis on this one. When Quinn and her father moved to a tiny town with a weird clown for a mascot, they're looking for a fresh start. But ever since the town's only factory shut down, Kettle Springs has been cracked in half. Most of the town believes that the kids are to blame. After all, the juniors and seniors at Kettle Springs High are the ones who threw the party where Arthur Hill's daughter died. They're the ones who set the abandoned factory on fire and who spend all their time posting pranks on YouTube. They have no respect and no idea what it means to work hard. For the kids, it's the only way around. And now Kettle Springs is caught in a constant battle between old and new, tradition and progress. It's a fight that looks like it will destroy the town, until one homicidal clown, with a pork pie hat and a red nose decides to end it for good. Because if your opponents all die, you win the debate by default. The town's mascot is a clown named Friendo. So one day, Friendo kind of goes on a whole slashing spree at this party in the cornfield that these kids are having. That's all I'll say. But I really enjoyed it. The slasher was slashing, let me tell you. Amazing. All the characters are really interesting, but it's up there. Like, it's between a 4 and a 5 star. I really think it's a 5 star for me. The only thing that was a little weird was the motive, but I do kind of get it. So I think it's a 5 star. Definitely creepy. Lots of heart racing moments. There was a little bit of build up in the beginning, but I was never bored. It was quick paced and it was a good time. Next, I am going to get back to some R.L. Stine and read The Babysitter III to get some points because we have 2 more days left and I'm going to try to rack up some more points and I will keep you guys updated. It's the end of the day on Monday still. I'm not too far into The Babysitter. Jenny is not babysitting. She's going to be spending the summer with her cousin Deborah. She's dealing with a lot of PTSD from the past babysitting jobs and, past experiences. And she's very, very jumpy. She was very jumpy in the last book, but she's even worse now. And her cousin Deborah, we haven't gotten to it yet, but I know her cousin Deborah is going to be the one with the babysitting job. So anyways, we haven't gotten there yet. And also, Jenny is still dating Cal, who was the guy she was dating in the last book. She doesn't really know him too well. It's a fairly new relationship. And she keeps saying that she doesn't know him that well. I don't know what it is with the guys in these books, but they're kind of clingy, and especially the guys that Jenny ends up with, they're just kind of clingy, and they don't take no very well. And, every time they don't get their way or whatever, they get so pouty and it's really obnoxious. This dude he's just kind of pouty and clingy and needy, kind of like her last boyfriend was. Maybe not that bad, but not too far into it. But it won't take me very long to read it, and I'll keep you guys updated. Just reading The Babysitter III. Jenny's cousin, Deborah, has started getting some ominous calls from someone claiming to be Mr. Hagen. As you remember, Mr. Hagen is from, if you don't remember, Mr. Hagen is from the first book. He's the monster from the first book. She started getting these calls from Mr. Hagen saying, "I'm alive, I'm back, company's coming, babes," which Deborah had nothing to do with any of the things from the past. So that's where we are. That's all I'm going to say about that. I will say these books have sort of a pattern or a formula that they go by. So they're getting kind of predictable. The same sort of characters each time. There's always the super nervous parent. It's always the same sort of boyfriends, the same pattern. So they're getting pretty predictable at this point. But anyways, it's still a fun read. I finished The Babysitter III. Most of it was pretty predictable. Like I said, it was pretty same formula as the other 2 as far as the characters go and all that, mostly. The only thing that really surprised me was the who. That was kind of a surprise. Otherwise, it was pretty cookie cutter. Anyways, still fun. Next, I will be reading Elizabeth by Ken Greenhall, aka Jessica Hamilton. I can't believe that Old School April is almost over because this may be the last book I read for Old School April. I may try to fit in another book, but we'll see. This may be the last one. I'll keep you guys updated. It's Tuesday, also the last day of Old School April, which is wild. But I will be finishing Elizabeth because I am absolutely mesmerized by this book. The prose just has completely grabbed my attention. It has sucked me right in. I can't stop reading it. Elizabeth is the main character. She's the one telling the story. It's from her point of view. She's a 14-year-old girl, but she is, I guess you could say, advanced. You can tell she's very experienced and also, I believe, very manipulative. She uses her sexuality against everybody, but especially men. She doesn't seem to have feelings, I guess you could say. She doesn't really believe in love. I can already tell that, and I'm only like 18 pages in. And she mentions that she doesn't really see the point in love. I'll tell you how chapter 1 ends because it's not a spoiler because it's right in the very beginning I first came to live with grandmother about a year ago after I killed my parents. I don't mean to sound callous, let me explain. That's her tone always. It never changes. She doesn't seem to get excited about anything or upset about anything. Doesn't really seem to care about anything. It's really odd. But she seems very smart, like I said, very manipulative. She's smart enough to be manipulative. And it's a really bad combination. Her lover is her dad's brother, James, which is really gross and really disturbing. It's uncomfortable and unsettling and definitely has that dark tone to it. She's just started talking to someone in the mirror named Frances, who has basically said she's going to help her figure out her powers. So I guess she has some sort of powers. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's very well written. I'm absolutely mesmerized. I'm fascinated by Elizabeth. This will be really easy to read because I'm very much into it. I will keep you guys updated. I got all my points submitted for the end of Old School April, which is really sad. I did finish Elizabeth. Really loved this one actually. The middle was a little bit slow, but I still really loved it. I can't say a lot about it because it's pretty short. My copy is about 150 pages, so I can't say too much about it without giving anything away, but it was just really good. Like I said before, it's really unsettling, sometimes uncomfortable, but like I said, that's what makes a horror novel. This is one of those books that I could just study, pick apart, make notes all in. It's just really good. There's a lot in there to dissect, and Elizabeth is the narrator. You get her point of view through the whole thing. You're in her head through the whole book, and she's very intelligent and very manipulative, and she picks everybody else apart. She's very good about reading other people, picking apart their flaws and what's wrong with them, and even though she's only 14, I'm really surprised this isn't talked about more. As you know, it was a little bit more than a week. It was like a week and 2 days. These are all the books that I read for the week. It looks like a lot, but some of them were R.L. Stine and shorter books. First, I'll tell you about, I read the Babysitter series. I read the Babysitter 1, 2, and 3. Told you guys about those. So the Babysitter 1, 13 points. Babysitter 2 was 14 points, and the Babysitter 12 points. The Monster Club was 14 points. Clown in a Cornfield was 18 points. It was over 300 pages. Elizabeth, which I was just telling you about, was 12 points. Master of Murder, which was a Christopher Pike book, was 13 points. My Best Friend's Exorcism was 15 points. It was over 300 pages. Horrorama was 14 points. And Fall into Darkness was 11 points. I attended the Slumber Party. I did 6 Sad April posts on Instagram 9 times. 2 snacks. I had more than 2 snacks, but you can only do 10 total, so 2 is all I had left. I did 3 coloring pages. I forgot to show you those from the Slumber Party. I didn't finish them all at Slumber Party because I didn't have time for that, but I finished them another night. So this is one. I was never really good at coloring in the lines, but I did the best I could. There's one. Here's another. Then there's this one. That one really wasn't that imaginative. I watched 18 episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I watched 1 episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? I attended 3 watch parties. The watch parties I did, it was music videos, watch party, Ace Ventura Pet Detective 2. That was hilarious. I hadn't seen that movie in years. And then Willow. I also watched 21 episodes of Boy Meets World. So my total points for the week was 200. Oh, another thing, actually it was 201 because I also built a fort. And you'll see video of that within the vlog. I'm sure you've seen it by now. So yeah, I had a really fun time with Old School April. I made a lot of new friends and just had a really great time. It really sad it's over, but I could prepare now for Halloween and Christmas because I know that she's going to be doing readathons for both of those, so I can prepare for those things. I will be buying books for those because I know I don't have enough on my shelves for either. Next week I will be going over my April wrap-up. It will be everything I read for Old School April. For those that like everything wrapped up all tied together, be a little quicker and, you know, my ratings and all of that. I will see you guys next Friday. Bye for now.